Hey guys, this is Phil Swift here from Terra Nova School of Swords in Hema Gear, Canada. I have a treat for you today. It's been a while since I've created a gear review video, mainly because now that I'm a distributor, I find it biased if I were to release a gear video on a product that I'm in direct competition with. But like I said, for today we have a treat for you. I am not in competition with this rapier designer at all. As a matter of fact, I actually purchased this for my own private collection, for my own use. This is a munitions grade rapier made by Yllart MArtinez, who is the owner of Destrezania. So I'll put up all the information in the description below if you want to purchase one of these or to check out the website for yourself. So for those of you who don't know, my main area of focus is actually Destreza, and mainly into the works of Don Francisco Lorenz de Rada, who was a Spanish fencing master amongst his many other titles. During the late 17th to early 18th century, and being a later practitioner of Destreza, I mainly, when I'm looking for a trainer, I'm looking for very specific specs, and one of those specs being that I want a lighter rapier, mainly because during the late Renaissance in Italy and in Spain, you'll see a lot of museum examples with rapier with thinner blades, and also you will see that they've gotten much lighter as well. So we're talking about mid 700 grams or high 700 grams to about just over 1 kilogram. All right, so what are these certain specs that I'm looking for in a Destreza trainer as a late Destreza practitioner? So one of the main things I'm looking for in a Destreza trainer is to make sure that the sword itself isn't longer than 41 inches. The blade itself isn't longer than. It is supposed to be 5/4 veras long is the max standard given by Pacheco, and Thibault has his own standards as well, and Rada says something similar to Pacheco. So therefore, I'm keeping it close to what Rada would have recommended, and this fits the description perfectly. Another spec that I'm looking for is wide quillions. It should be about 1 foot long, and this is exactly the size that it is. Another spec that is very important as a for a Destreza trainer is we need a smaller grip, so that when we're holding our rapier, the rapier sits in the channel of our wrist, and so we are able to make circular disengages without the pommel interfering with the wrist. So here is 2 rapiers side by side. One is an Italian inspired swept hilt, and the other is our munitions grade from Destrezania. So you can see there that it's a huge difference in grip length. And if you're holding this, the pommel will get in the way of the wrist when you're trying to make circular disengages. Aside from that, I need a long enough ricasso. So this little metal piece here, inside, I need it to be long enough that I can essentially fit it with a 2-finger grip. Now my hands are small, so technically I can fit a 2-finger grip in here, but it's not comfortable for me. If you look at the difference inside, the Spanish rapier actually has a longer or more spacious ricasso area for a 2-finger grip. Okay. Another main point or spec that I'm looking for in a rapier is that I want something light. I've developed fencer's elbow, and so my hand or arm rather becomes very, very stiff after a while. And if I'm holding something heavy, it's very taxing on my elbow. Now this one here is just under 1 kilogram, so it is fairly light compared to all of the other rapiers I own. And so to me, this feels almost like a lightsaber, and I love the way it feels. Okay. Balance point is key as well. If it is tip heavy, that means you'll have stronger presence in the bind. However, I found this one to be fairly good in the bind without being so tip heavy. And I think that's mainly because of its rigidity. It tends to be very flexible where it needs to be, which is near the end there, and it's pretty stiff in the fort. It's also got a wider fort as well, so perhaps that helps a little bit with parrying or binding near the fort, and I find that helps a lot.
Another thing I like to mention is how deep the feeler is. It's hard to focus here, but it's set pretty deep into the blade, and that's probably what makes it so nice and light. And it looks beautiful too. The blade does taper very, very well.
So besides the fact that this rapier checks all the boxes for the Destrezania trainer I'm looking for, it also has a few other pros. Destrezania is one of the best suppliers I ever had to work with, and I work with tons of supplier, being someone who runs HEMA Gear Canada, and he is super friendly, very responsive, and answers all my questions very well. Now, his website is also super easy to navigate through and to purchase from. This is easily one of my favorite swords ever for Destrezania. So hats off to Yllart MArtinez. Now, that being said, I like to go through some of the cons, because every product has a con, and this one isn't too bad. First off, the cup is a 1 millimeter thick cup. Now, I wish it was slightly thicker, only because it's soft steel. So Yllart said that the steel is relatively 54 to 53 HRC. Most North American trainers are 51 to 50 HRC, so they're a little bit harder steel being used. And so when like something like a Castile standard with a little bit of weight on it hits my cup, it dents immediately. Now, it's not super deep, it's like a little surface dent, which you can kind of see right there, but it totally dent on the first hit. So I mean, but the pro about that is, you know, after X amount of years, when you go to a tournament with a dented up cup, everyone will think you're pretty damn serious. It's like, oh, look at that veteran over there. But yes, that's my only beef, is on the cup. I wish it was just a little bit thicker, or if you use a stronger steel for the cup itself. That being said, that's literally the only con about the Munition grade rapier. I do wish that it would have more options in the standard rapiers. Like, for example, I would like it to come with a quillon block, but I think you may have to get that customized, because that's not offered on the website under standard Munition grade. Also, I wouldn't mind like a cord wrap or like a wire wrap on the handle, so that, I mean, the leather is very nice, but I love to have something wired wrap, and that might be a customized option. I did not see it on the website under the standard munition grades options. So that is all the cons I have to say about it. I mean, if it was made with a higher HRC, perhaps it would be much heavier. I don't know, but I do wish that it was made with a 50 HRC. That way, you'll get less dents and burrs on the blade as well. Though I have actually used this sword for 2 months, almost every day now, and it has withstood the test of abuse, and I haven't had to file it at all. There are some like nicks that I can feel that I should probably file down, but I mean, it's held up and it still looks great. So yeah, thanks for such an amazing product. I definitely would recommend this to every Destreza practitioner. Matter of fact, as soon as I bought one of these, David Rawlings called me to tell me that I have a great trainer, and that this is one of his favorite trainers to practice Destreza with. So that being said, this is something that someone amazing like Dave Rawlings has recommended, and now you're hearing it the second time from me. Might not be as cool as David Rawlings, but definitely I have to admit this is probably my favorite Destreza sword of all times, or trainer to be used for Destreza of all times. All right, thank you for watching our gear review episode, listening to me rant and everything. It's been nice to rant to you guys again. Thank you so much. I hope you subscribe, and hopefully I'll have some more gear reviews videos released in the future. Thank you.